All right. Thanks to those joining me live and to those that'll be joining me on archive. Don't forget to thumbs up the video if you're listening on archive. Do it now. All right. I'm waiting for people to come on live here. The chat is open. I'll address the chat momentarily. Let me give my thoughts out first. All right. I'm not going to go through over all the comments or anything. It's not a Q&A, but I might go through some of the comments. But let me let me say this. So I did a video giving my thoughts on Spence versus Lamont Peterson. You want to check it out? Go ahead. But I played clips of First Take. Let me first address. Now, I understand that once I gave my thoughts, I went to the Q&A. A lot of people, when they listen in archive, they don't stick around for the Q&A, which is understandable. But yes, I know he said 15-0, all right? And I was corrected in the chat, and I addressed that later on, right? Now, not 15 years old, all right? So, and I'll admit it, my bad, right? But aside from those comments, aside from that, let's address a Keith Thurman post. I just thought it was hilarious. So this is nothing. This is just boxing talk. There's nothing personal about any of this. Okay, but I just want to read it because I was like, I just like, So there was a comment. I also got a private message too, like just a Keith Thurman fan saying he unsubscribed because he's tired of me talking about Keith Thurman. Okay, or of what I say about Keith Thurman anyway. Right, like he's tired. It was the last straw. Like, wow, like damn, like that's some serious shit. You're not gonna want to stick around, I guess. Okay, that's up to you. Sometimes do I believe they might unsubscribe? Sure. Do I believe they'll never come back and listen again? I seriously doubt it. Okay, of course they're gonna come back and listen. You got to come back and listen to DStyleBoxing. All right. No, but DStyle, you don't understand. You don't understand DStyle. Right? Check it out. Okay. So this is a post by Crimson Titan. All right. So thank you very much for the post. And he puts it at DStyleBoxing. Okay. I'm going to read it. All right, guys. Okay. I normally tend to agree with a lot of the points you make, but I have to disagree with you here. First off, you're pulling a Stephen A. Smith here with the over-exaggeration about Keith Thurman hasn't fought in forever. It was just in March last year, and the only reason he hasn't fought since is because he had surgery for an elbow injury. And he's recently said that he's returning to the ring early this year in a tuna fight, and then he's going to take on mandatory fight against Sean Porter. And then after that, he plans to go at Errol Spence. I also disagree with you on the outcome. I think Keith Thurman definitely can beat Errol Spence. Spence is good, no doubt. But let's not pretend like this guy is some monster. Dude is being largely outboxed by a guy who has damaged goods for crying out loud. I get you want to see the best fights and everything, but let's not act like this is J.G. Wentworth commercial where you're demanding a fight this guy immediately after coming off of an injury. Come on, DStyle. You're better than this dude. Now, first of all, I didn't say when. I just said I want to see the fight. Okay, all I said was that I want to see Keith Thurman versus Errol Spence. Also, a lot of the things I addressed were what Max Kellerman and Stephen A. Smith were saying. They were largely, Max Kellerman in particular, dismissing Keith Thurman, and I simply addressed that. I said that has to get to Keith Thurman. Okay. Now, I did say that I believe Errol Spence would win the fight. I'm pretty confident in saying that. But in the same token, I said Keith Thurman has every right to prove me wrong. He could get in the ring with Errol Spence and prove me wrong whenever he wants. Right? As for my comment of, I don't know if I worded it like that exactly. I may have. Okay, I'm not denying it. I just, the video was a couple days ago and I didn't go back and listen to it. And it sounds like something I would say, right? He hasn't fought in forever. All right. He just fought in March. First of all, let's not make March sound like it was 3 months ago. All right. And And let's not add the fact that he had an injury to it too. If you're going to make the point that he just recently fought, there's no reason to bring up the injury. Okay, I know that he had an injury, but March wasn't a couple months ago either. That's almost a year, right? And by the time he does fight, it might even be a year. So we'll see. And I know you might have a tune-up. If you want to call Jesse Vargas a tune-up, I personally disagree with that. And look, I'm giving Keith Thurman credit. Jesse Vargas is a good fight. It's not a tune-up. It sounds like you indirectly put down the opponent of Keith Thurman, where I'm not doing that. But that's not here nor there. Now, I have a feeling that if I would have said, why is he fighting Jesse Vargas? What a crappy tune-up. I have a feeling there would have been something in the comment along the lines of, that's not a tune-up. Jesse Vargas, he beats Saddam Ali. Jesse Vargas is a real deal. Look at his resume. Like, I have a feeling like that. But it's okay. Okay, that's not what I said. It's not how I feel. So I'm letting you know what I think. Okay, and that's an assumption I'm making, and I assume it's an assumption. But anyway, okay. Now let's address the word forever. Well, obviously, I didn't really mean forever, because I know what forever means literally, right? What does forever mean? Like, literally mean? So if you want to take what I said literally, then I don't know what to tell you, right? I'm not saying Keith Thurman hasn't fought in forever to say anything. Okay, I'm a fan of Keith Thurman. I like the guy, as a fighter, and I want to see him in the ring. That's all. I want to see him in some fights. Now, let's not act like last year, March, like he fought a couple months before that either. Okay? That dude has fought twice in the span of, I think, like 2 years. All right? So let's not act like he was super active, and then it was only because of an injury and all that. Now, the Sean Porter thing, from my understanding, it might come down to Garcia versus Porter in a title eliminator or something like that to become #1 contender. So there's really no rush right now. He could definitely do the Spence fight. Like, if he gets a tune-up, he should be ready right after that, really. Keith Thurman should be ready right after the tune-up. He should be ready to roll, right? Because Garcia is going to fight, Rios. We all know that Garcia is going to win that fight. And the winner of that fight is supposed to be fighting Sean Porter. Now, if I'm wrong about that, someone could correct me. I'm honestly going by something I heard, right? But if that's the case, then there's no reason we can't do the Spence fight. I believe Spence will beat Peterson pretty soon here. Okay, I'm pretty sure that Keith Thurman should get past Jesse Vargas, and then let's get it on. Okay, let Garcia fight Porter, and then the winners will fight each other, since that will be a mandatory. Get that mandatory out of the way, and the winner of that could fight the winner of Horn versus Crawford. And I'm not going to pretend like I don't know who the winner of that fight is. Everybody knows. Unless your name is NBT Boxing, everybody knows who's going to win that fight. Okay, Crawford's going to win. All right? Now, everything's upside down in Australia, so I don't hold it against NBT. All right, like, it is. Winning really means losing over there, right? So when he says Horn's going to win, well, it's upside down. All right. But anyway, and then of course I got a private message from somebody else, by the way, saying they're tired of me talking shit about, like, I don't even think I'm talking shit about Thurman. I really don't. I don't think I said anything demeaning. Okay. If there's one thing I said was, where is Keith Thurman? And I said, before you tell me, like, oh, I just saw him in a video interview, or he's recovering from an injury. That's not what I meant. And I made that clear in my video. I said, no. The Keith Thurman from a couple years ago, the way he talked, the way he was down to fight anybody, anywhere, he wasn't scared of losing his O and this, that, and the third. Where is that Keith Thurman? And where's the fan base, that loved that Keith Thurman? Because now you do have Keith Thurman loyalists, you know, and hey, he's your favorite fighter or whatever, or favorite, at least in the division. You think everybody's wrong. He could beat Spence. He could beat everybody and this, that, and the third. Okay, fine. Fair enough. There's some Keith Thurman fans that think he's the best in the division, point blank, period. At the end of the day, everybody's speculating, right? I'm speculating. You're speculating. We're not going to find out for sure until they all fight each other, right? We'll see when the fight happens, but it seems to me that Keith Thurman fans have fallen victim to whataboutism, right? That's right, you heard it. Whataboutism. Like, well, what's that? DStyle. Like, you know, like, well, what about this guy? What about what Floyd did? What about what Manny Pacquiao did? What about this? What about that? What about Spence? When they ask him about Crawford, Spence has, you know, he acts differently. Well, what about this guy? And what about that guy? What's with all his whataboutism? When Keith Thurman came out, like, this dude was like, I'm going to be the exception. I'm a warrior. Well, wasn't he one of the people saying, I'm a pride fighter? Wasn't he one of those dudes saying that? Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe that wasn't Keith Thurman, but if it was, well, Keith Thurman was pumping himself up. Keith Thurman was like, I'm here to fight. You know, I love to fight. Give me anybody, anywhere, blah, 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 right? Now, all of a sudden, you know, they start, let's not act like he wasn't acting a little weird about the Spence thing. He was. Now, if you do the whataboutism, you're not defending the point, okay? You're simply saying, well, somebody else did it too. That's all you're saying. That's all you're saying. It doesn't mean he's innocent of the accusation. You're just saying other people are guilty of it too. That's all you're saying. Well, what about Floyd? They'll bring up Floyd fans. Well, too bad that doesn't apply to me, so that's not going to work on me. All right? Well, what about Floyd? You know, all these fans were always talking about how it's all about money and this, that, and this. And when Keith Thurman talks about, you got to pay me, all of a sudden everybody wants to criticize Keith Thurman. Well, you guys got to stop using the word everybody. Okay, like that word is used way too loosely. Way too loosely. Like right now, I'm addressing a specific fan base. See, I'm not addressing everybody. Okay. Now I understand, just like forever, everybody could be a figure of speech. Okay, but I'm just letting you know it's being used a little too loosely. Keith, whataboutism Thurman. Maybe that should be his new nickname. Well, what about him? Well, what about him? Well, what about Joshua? He acts differently when they talk about Wilder. Well, what about this guy? What about that guy? Right? That's the same thing Joshua fans are doing. You know, when me as a boxing fan, I don't care about all the whatabouts. I just know what I want to see. And I'm going to demand. I don't care if it's unfair to one guy or if one guy hasn't done this or that, or like at the end of the day, if I want to see a fight as a boxing fan, I'm going to demand for the fight. I don't care about all this whole whatabout. All this whataboutism is getting out of hand in boxing. Because whataboutism basically essentially excuses anything. Like you could excuse a fighter for anything with whataboutism. Well, what about this guy? Well, what about that guy? What about him? What about him? You didn't say anything about him? Well, we can't talk about every single fighter in the history of boxing. We can't address every single little situation, right? So you're always going to find something you could point to. You know, it's like this, right? Like a couple years ago, when the catchweight thing was starting to kick off, I would say, look, I don't like catchweights. DStyle doesn't like catchweights. That's what DStyle would say. Look, I'm not a catchweight guy, right? Like, I don't like the fact that Manny Pacquiao is asking for a catchweight against Miguel Cotto, and the fight is for a title. That's what I said. Well, they were doing the whataboutism then too. Well, what about Sugar Ray Leonard? Sugar Ray Leonard is a catchweight. Why didn't you say anything about Sugar Ray? Like, I didn't know I had to have a video up already about Sugar Ray Leonard, okay, having a catchweight fight in order for me to address the situation with Manny Pacquiao and Miguel Cotto. I didn't know that I have to have something on the record about everything. All right. Well, what about this? What about that? What about what Ali did back in 1964? Like, okay. Sure, why not? You know, back when we were like, hey, you know, it's crazy. Like everybody does a whataboutism. Everybody. Well, what about him? What about that? Like, you know, so it's not gonna work. It's not gonna work with me. Right? We're gonna address a situation at hand. That's what we're gonna do. Right? Oh yeah, well, what about this style? You didn't say anything about that. You didn't say anything about this. No. But this style. What about this? What about that? You want to criticize Keith Thurman about this and that, but well, what about when so and so did this and did that? Like, you know, we're never going to end. It's never going to end. We're never going to be able to have a, you know, everyone is going to have an excuse about everything because there's a what about everything. How about this? How about we have a welterweight division? And I want to know what the best fighter in the fucking division is. I don't want to speculate. I don't want to have an educated opinion about it. I just want to fucking know. And I want to see Keith Thurman fight Errol Spence. If that makes anybody feel uncomfortable, too bad. Right? I want to see the fight. And that's it. And I'm going to say that, yes, I believe Spence beats his ass. Okay, too bad. Like, you know, it doesn't mean like if DStyle says something that that's what's going to happen. Okay, but that's just, I'm simply giving you my opinion. And usually, not always, but let's just say I have a very good batting average. Okay? Nobody bats 1,000. Nobody does. Right? But I have a very good batting average. And that's that. Right? Now I don't bat like .014 like freaking like Sean Ewan, but you know that's terrible, right? That's the opposite of 1,000, right? But at the end of the day, like NBT boxing in all reality, he really has a very good batting average. You just got to remember it's opposite, right? Like when it says Lipinitsa is going to beat, you know, Mikey Garcia, it's the opposite, okay? That's what it is. He doesn't really mean what he's saying. Everything's just upside down. Okay, down under, right? Everything's just upside down over there. You know, like when it's you know, it's Thursday here, it's Friday there. You know, everything's just upside down. Let's pull up the chat really quick. Let's pull up the chat really, really quickly here. By the way, for those watching right now, make sure you thumbs up the video. Much appreciated. All right, boxing fan. Although I said it wasn't a Q&A, I'll still read over some of these comments. Keith Thurman fan reporting in, says boxing fan. I wonder if he was the guy that sent me that little private message. NBT boxing, but DStyle. Boxing fan. I'm a Keith Thurman fan, and I see people criticize him all day, but it's no big deal. I get mad and disrespect people. All right. There's no big deal to get mad and disrespect people. I got you. I think what you're trying to say is there's no reason to start disrespecting anybody or something like that. NBT boxing, exactly. My issue isn't him fighting Spence next. It's him taking a Porter and Garcia rematch first. NBT boxing says Horn. Easy work and still, says NBT. Milan, where's all the real Thurmanators at? I don't know where they're at. Thurman fan here, says NBT. Boxing fan, that is. NBT says boxing fan, proud as F. NBT, the fish outside the sea, under the sea. Boxing fan always. Thurman is ducking, says Prodigy. Boxing fan, Thurman and Spence happens before Crawford fights Thurman or Spence. You were right the first time, says Tone to Prodigy. Boxing fan, oh yeah, Garcia Lipinets was postponed. Was it? I didn't even know that. NBT Boxing says Lipinitsa didn't lose the scheduled fight now, did he? All righty. Factoid Allen. What's up, Factoid? Long time no talk, buddy. DStyle continues to fight the good fight. Don't ever stop. Ever. She loved the TV. Smash the like button. All right, there you go. All right? So let's address that. There's no need to get mad. You know, there just isn't. You know, you could address it in a certain way, you know, like the guy in the comment section. That was the right way to do it. The guy in the private message, not so much. All right? All right, not so much. Okay? Although accusing me of being a Stephen A. Smith, that was a little bit of a, you know, that hurt a little bit. I'm not going to lie. You know, being compared to Stephen A. Smith. You know? I don't know why scream like a raving lunatic. I wasn't aware of that, but I'll keep the tone down, I guess. You know, I'm being compared to fucking Stephen A. Smith. All right? Anyway. All right, Lipinitsa had a hand injury, DStyle. Did he? Lipinitsa! That's like that's the noise he made when they smashed his hand, I guess. He had a quote-unquote hand injury. Interesting. Or maybe he doesn't want to fight. I don't know. It's just I have no clue, but I guess we'll see. Did anybody see Lipinitsa's hand on IG? No, I have not. I have not seen that. So there you go. For anybody who just tuned in, Lipinitsa hurt his hand. All right? Stop saying Lipinitsa. Okay, it's Lipinits. It's Lipinits, DStyle. It's not Lipinitsa. Okay, there's no A at the end, okay? What are you saying right, DStyle? All right, anyway. Lipinitsa. All right, he's going to get his ass whooped whenever that fight happens. A boxing fan didn't break his hand, but apparently a bad bruise. They want to push it 2 to 3 weeks. 2 to 3 weeks postponement ain't that bad. It ain't that bad. All right, he wants to postpone his ass beating another 2 to 3 weeks. It's all good. Okay, it's all good in his neighborhood. All right, guys, fun video. Have another video coming up about another topic. Right. But thanks to those that joined me live. Right. I'll read MBT's Boxing's comment really quick before I go. If you don't put the A at the end, he can't be the white murderous row list. Exactly. All right. We got to fit him in somehow. It's like a rule. You know. It's a rule. I still haven't figured out though, NBT, why Jeff Horn can't make the white murderous row. You know, they just don't like the guy. But I like your theory, though, that he beat Manny Pacquiao. And the creators of the white murderous row are descendants of the Pactar Nation. So it makes sense, right? It makes sense. Or I should say descendants. I should say the fragments of the Pactar Nation. Yeah, Lipinitsa is getting beat 3 weeks later. All right, 11th round knockout. NBT has him winning. Interesting. Jeff Horn should just mail his belt to Crawford. No need to fight. All the way from down under, too. You know, in fact, if Horn mails it same-day delivery, it'll get there the day before because he's mailing it from Australia. So he mails it on the, let's say, the 20th. Right? It'll arrive. Well, if he does next day delivery, I'm sorry. If he does next day delivery, it'll arrive the next day. Okay? The same day, I'm sorry. I'm getting this all wrong. What the hell? All right, let me repeat that. All right, let me start again. Rewind. There you go. All right. If Jeff Horn delivers it for next day delivery, it'll arrive the same day. All right? He delivers it from the 20th. Okay, in Australia, and it'll arrive on the 20th in the U.S., in Nebraska, right? I just asked that Horn shines up the belt very nice. You see, I want to give Jeff Horn an assignment, okay? But I'm going to talk about that in my next video, all right? I have an assignment for Jeff Horn. I have a message for Jeff Horn and for his fans like NBT, and I'm going to be doing that video next. So stay tuned to the DStyleBoxing channel. I'm going to be right back to address Jeff Horn. Save your comments, okay? I'm going to address him next. Gotcha? All right.